Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to share part 2 of how to draw my little leader and dreamer and legend character. So first we did the face, and today we're going to do the body. So let's get started. I loved seeing everyone's sketches from before, everyone's posts, so thank you so much for sending those and sharing them on social media. You can keep going, so follow along with me. Today we're going to do the rest of the body. So what we learned in part 1 was how to draw the face. I said that I always draw with kind of a round face. It's a little bit like a squished circle. And every time I do this, it's a little bit different. I think that's perfectly fine. They're very uniform in the book because I want readers to be able to kind of flip through them and it to feel like an animation. So they're exactly the same and they're in exactly the same place on every page. Except for one or two that are facing a different way. But every time I do a live drawing session in person, each version is always a little bit different. When I was a kid, I never thought I could ever go into animation because I didn't like replicating the same characters over and over again. And I think that's still very true. So just to recap, when I draw the face, I use the letter C to do all of the shapes. So I'm going to do the letter C on its side like that. For the eyes, one here. It's a little too far over, but that's okay. And one here. Flip it upside down for some eyebrows. And flip it, put a little one in the middle for a nose, and flip it one more time for a smile. I actually like when they're like not as uniform and perfect as they are in the book, because I like seeing how just little variations, like how big the eyes are or how far apart they are, really makes it seem totally different. So don't feel like pressured to get it perfectly right, because I clearly am not. Okay, so when I do the rest of the body, I break down the shapes into simple things that we're all kind of familiar with. And this is a technique you can take to every single drawing you do, because a lot of drawing is breaking down complicated things into simple shapes like circles and squares and triangles. I mean, we all learn how to draw a house kind of this way, and it's just using shapes we're all familiar with, right? So I like to use something we all know to make my character, something we all love, vegetables. So I love my veggies. So the ones I'm going to work with today are butternut squash, and baby carrots. I mean, you can use any shape you like. You could use a big lumpy potato, but I feel like the one that best reflects the style of character here is kind of a butternut squash. And I think of this part as sort of my skeleton. So I do this in pencil. So I'm going to draw the shape of like a squash or a pear. Sometimes kids say peanut. Or potato, avocado I get every once in a while. And I'm definitely thinking about the pose that I'm going to put the character in. So I'm thinking like a superhero pose. So that character is going to have their hands on their hips, right? So I'm going to use my baby carrots to draw some arms that are akimbo. So one there, one there, one there. And then just like a little bean for the hands. And the arms, the legs are going to go out wide in this kind of like hero pose. So yeah, baby carrots, and then some little beans for the legs. So again, I think of this as like my skeleton, as my armature, and then I am going to place my clothes and everything else on top of that. So that's why I do this part in pencil, because I'm going to go back and erase some of this stuff. I said last time that I do like to keep my sketchy lines in, and I do that. Now, I like to be able to show a little sketchiness in my artwork because I don't like it to look too polished all the time. So now I'm putting my arms here. And I'm outlining my shape with for my character. So I'm thinking about what my character is wearing now. So I put a belt here right in the middle because superheroes often have belts. Some sort of logo, right? And then a cape. Okay, and then I don't know if I'll do a mask. Maybe I'll do a mask. It's kind of hard to pull that off. And maybe some like poofy hair. Okay, so I did that way sketchier than I did yesterday because I saw how much my pencil line bled into my colored markers, so I know that I'm going to erase a lot today. So I'm using a kneaded eraser. This is a tool that you can get from the art supply store. It's very soft, rubber sort of medium, and it's kind of self-cleaning, so you have to stretch it out and make it really soft. And once it's that soft, you can really just dab at your drawing and lift color off. Do you see it's pulling off? So I'm just going to kind of lightly brush at it. So I can still see my sketch for sure, but it's taking away that loose graphite, so it's not going to bleed so much into my color today. This is the type of eraser I often use when I'm working in pastels, and you can shape it to get, you know, really detailed into these little points if you need very specific lifting of color. Okay, so that's great. We can kind of see where everything is. I'm not going to outline it again until I put my color down. So today I'm just going to use my markers from Flying Tiger. So these are alcohol markers, but they're not as expensive as like Prismacolor or I can't think of the other brand that's really famous. But the trick with the Prismacolor, or the trick with these alcohol markers, is that they bleed. So if you let it sit, and especially on the right paper, it'll really blend into itself, and so your line marks will slightly disappear. Okay, so it's hard to know when a drawing is ever really done. You can kind of keep going and adding more shadow and adding more detail. I tend to spend a little bit too long in this part of the process overworking a drawing, but for today I'll call this one done, and there we go. You guys can see. Okay, I'm actually really done now, I think. Who knows? I might go back and add more. But, so this is my finished drawing. I've clearly added a lot of little details here, but really from these basic shapes, the circle with for the face, the C's for the features, our vegetable body parts, you can really start turning it into anybody. So I would love to see your drawings, to see if you created your own superheroes or draw someone that inspires you. You can see I added a mask in the last stages here. I don't really know where the eye hole shapes are, but we'll just pretend that it's actually normal. Anywho, I want to see you guys. I want to see your work, so post it and tag me in it, and I can't wait to see. All right, until next time.